Without getting political, then there's also disinformation, which is its own brand of storytelling. So it's very easy to tell, especially in this digital age, we can craft whatever story we want. And it's empowering, but it can also be, very damaging at the same time.
Yes, so I think now more than ever, it's important for rhetoric to come back, being taught in the schools, to understand that, again, what's happening in the political sphere or wherever, that type of rhetoric is a tool. It's what they do. It's what they hone. So when you listen to their messages, you're hearing, oh, well, that's the logic side. It's like two lawyers in a trial, right? Yeah, oh, that's the logic stance. Well, if you don't have a stance, then, try something different. Once you understand that and you can step back from the emotions of it, and you can feel the feelings, right? That's sitting with the discomfort that I was talking about earlier. You can see it from afar. You're the witness of it, but you are not swept up in the misinformation or the disinformation, right? That you're not believing everything that's coming out on either side, because they're spun in the ways they need to spin them so they can win with their constituents. So, perfect place to go is social media. Go to Facebook and see people who go on about political things, and you could just say the person on the right or the person on the left, they've kind of melded into one. The energy of what they're saying isn't so different, right?
That's true.
Because they're emotionally whipped up. But that isn't communication. That's just screaming at a wall. And then what do we get, right? So there's always been bad journalism. There's always been rhetoric. But if you don't understand how those mechanisms work, you will fall prey to them and believe they are true, if that makes sense.
It does. I think there was a comment I read. What is it? Journalism is getting out a story somebody doesn't want out. Everything else is advertising. I'm not sure what that is, but...
That's a good one. And that was, hold on, it's going to come to me. She ran the Washington Post.
Oh, Catherine Graham?
Thank you, Catherine Graham.
Okay.
That was Catherine Graham.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Was that, maybe that was one of the quotes
on
I
my
saw?
Instagram.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
it. See, I've been found out.
Yeah. Have you been stalking?
I have, in preparation for this interview,
Oh,
yes.
very good.
So, okay, so that was for you, because I thought I was also doing research on the movie Richard Jewell, and there was some backlash against that as well. So sorry, I wasn't sure if it was underneath that trailer.
There's so much.
Okay, so that was one of your Instagram
So
quotes.
that was one of my Instagram
There we go.
posts. Very good.
Okay.
Excellent.
Good.
Yes. And that's true. That is true. That sums up the news. When I worked in TV news, our slogan was, if it bleeds, it leads. Right? So when you start to understand that news is there to be sensational, because sensational things sell. And we would laugh when I worked in news because I would go into the edit suite and there would be these black holes where the commercials would go. And we would look, one day I was sitting there with a friend and he said, look, you see that black hole right there? And I go, yeah. And he said, that's the most precious, expensive thing in all of this piece, because the black holes were the advertising, and the advertising is what paid the bills, kept the lights on, and gave our salaries at the time. And when you start looking at things in that way, then can truth ever really totally come out? Right?
Yeah.
And journalists, that is not a dig against journalists. Journalists have a really, and there's a lot of great journalists.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a firm believer in journalism.
Absolutely.
But you have to be specific. You have to really work hard to find the journalists that resonate with you, and that you understand that they have an opinion too.
That's
right?
true.
And so if you're going to read the New York Times, you have to say, well, I know that journalist is most likely going to be on the left, unless they say otherwise. If I read the Wall Street Journal, I'm going to say, well, economics are going to drive that's the lens they look through, right? And then when I do that, I start to understand that that's who pays their bills. That's the black hole in their editorial piece, right? You know, that's, if you open the Wall Street Journal or the Washington Post, you'll see where the advertisements are. And that's what pays and keeps the lights on. And so it doesn't mean that they're totally influenced by it. But as journalists, we can only do the best we can do with what we have. We do our best to try to be as neutral as we can. But we're human.